Hola.
Welcome back to Lit Laugh Lounge.
Or not. Whatever you feel.
This is your first episode, then welcome to the party.
It's crack-a-lackin'. This is episode 7. It's all underground yet again. Sarah,
I really need you to stop.
I can't.
I'm tired of tunnels,
Tired
tired of caves.
Just
and
pick a new
rivers.
escape. Like go into the sky or something.
Let's
I
go
don't
to the
know.
desert. We haven't been there
Ooh,
yet.
Let's go to the desert. Yeah.
That
Or like
sounds
a
fun.
nice tropical rainforest.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I have to pull a hunt moment.
She's not like other girls.
I'm not like other girls.
Shit, that's crazy. You're
It's
crazy.
in my hunt era.
Oh my god. So this is chapters 51 through 59. Lots of things happen, but in the end, not in the beginning. The beginning chapters are just lots of words. Very long. So in 51, it's Sathya and Therion are having their little moment where they're like, so what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? And she's like, raspberry tarts. And he's like, you're fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's romantic. I did think it was cute, though.
It's
In
cute.
general, I was like,
It's giving that one scene from Hunger Games where they're like, what's your favorite color? And she's like, oh, now you've gone too far.
No, my God. And then it switches over to Lydia. And Lydia's sitting on a balcony and she's watching Team Caves go bye-bye because they didn't invite her to the send-off. And she's kind of bitter about it, but like not actually.
She's like, I get it.
She's like, I understand, but like I'm still bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Which is real. And then Morven shows up and he's trying to talk smack, but he's not good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he tries this twice. He tries this once here and then another time. And he just cannot keep up. He cannot talk smack. But he's basically like, you're a traitor and you suck. And she's like, you suck more.
You
like
literally disowned your son.
She's like, I watched you grovel in front of Rigolas and that was really funny. And he's like,
but I feel like it's because Morven's just like so secluded that he feels like he's hot shit. But like as soon as he gets out there, they're just like hitting him with the comebacks. He's like, whoa. I don't have experience in this one. No one's ever disrespected me.
He's that weird kid in like high school who just like he thinks he's it. Like he's watched too much anime.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. Because it's like they'll come in with the well, you're actually this and this and this.
Yeah, and you're
like,
okay,
sick.
Yeah, okay. And then he's like, "Are you gonna betray your friends? Like you betrayed your last group?" And she's like, "No." And he's like, and she's like, he's like, well, I won't follow them. And she's like, well, you should, because you're stupid not to, and then walks away.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to Team Caves, and they find out that the cave entrance is slightly overhyped. They're just like, wow, this is a sliver in some rocks. Rune, why were you so scared?
Mm-hmm.
And Sathya is like, they're like trying to get Sathya to leave, basically. They're trying to kick her out of Team Caves. They're like, so this is gonna be scary. There's some ghouls and some goblins and some rats.
It's like, not too late to go hang out with your brother.
You can, in fact, leave. And she's like, I will not be anywhere where the murder twins are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, so therapy, you want to talk about it? And she's like, and they're like, they just let it drop. But they're like, okay, I guess Sathya's coming with us for real this time. And then Bryce is like, I'm good. Like, we're good. And she just enters the cave. She's like, I'll protect you. And just like saunters off into the cave. And then Morven tries to talk smack again. But this time he tries to talk it to Rune. And so he's like, so you're like super powerful, starborn prince. You should like be doing what's good for the Fae. Why are you doing that? You were distracting me.
I've already heard this story. I know what's happening.
She's drawing S's, and but you need to flip your hat back around because you're being too hunt. This is too hunt. But yeah, he's trying to talk smack to Morven's trying to talk smack, and Rune's like, "Don't talk about my sister that way." And Morven's like, "What? That she's a half breed? Like that's cool or something?" I don't know. Got her good.
He's like, she hasn't heard that one before.
Yeah. And Rune's like, yeah, talk about my sister. And Morven's like, but you're Starborn. You should want to strengthen the Fae bloodline. And then Rune's like, Bryce is also Starborn. And he's like, so there's some females here. And Rune's like, bye.
Bye.
Peace. And that's how that ends. And then Lydia, he sits back down for breakfast. And Lydia's like, you're a prince. Start acting like it. And that's how the chapter ends. And then the next one starts with him being like, you're a prince, start acting like one. She knows just how to get under my skin. Crazy. And Flynn and Deck are like, stop brooding. And he's like, I'm not brooding. You're brooding. And he's like, okay, I'm brooding. They're like, go talk to her. He does not, in fact, go talk to her.
He does not.
And then Deck is talking about how he's super worried about his people on the outside because he can't talk to them. And they're all like, well, Sathia said she got a message to them, so they're probably fine.
They're probably fine. They're probably not fine.
They're definitely not fine.
They're definitely not. They're probably in a dungeon somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. And Deck's like... And there's no luck when Team Archives. Team Archives is not doing well.
They are not. They are
really bad.
They barely read at all. And then they... Oh, we'll get into that.
Oh my god. So the cave is in fact spooky. Rune was just not making it up. It is spooky.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bryce is talking about the Midgard worm and the mask. And because Vaxine's like, I don't want to hear about the worm. And she's like, so the worm looks like this and it has this many rows of teeth. And he's like, I don't want to hear about it. I love Vaxine. I'm so obsessed with him. He's so funny. And then Bryce talks about the mask and she's like, they can just bring things back from the dead. They don't need a necromancer. And Hunt's like, I mean, fair game because she kept this for me and I kept the whole Rigolith stealing my lightning from me thing. But like also, ow. And I'm like, okay, can we just like talk it out, guys, please? And then they start seeing the first of the hieroglyphs and it's depicting the 8-pointed star and the hunt of Thea's Pegasus because they kind of instinctified them. Sucks to suck.
Damn.
And then a fucking ghoul shows up and Bryce licks the residue that it leaves on the wall.
She's like, And then she's like, oh, it tastes bad. Oh, really?
Really
why?
You want to get all that stuff that's under its nails in your mouth? And then Deck and Flynn leave to go grab lunch. And the murder twins show up and they're like, on your left. On your right. Hello, cousin.
We're literally twins.
Mama Smith.
Can you see the resemblance?
Oh yeah. And then Rune's like, she told me to act princely, so I'm gonna act princely. And she's like, we'll send for you if we need you.
And then
we'll tell Morven if we need you.
Just dismisses them, and then they're like, and then they're kind of like shuffle off.
They're so weird.
Disappear into the shadows.
They're such like a strange addition. Like I get why they're there, but they just have no like use, except the one that's like they're not like, I don't know. They're just there.
They're just random.
They're funny. And then Ethan and Hypaxia are being besties, and they're like talking about everything. And Hypaxia is like, "Damn, breakfast was so good." And Ethan's like, "Oh, so that's why you deflected." And she's like, "Yeah, just for the food." And they're
breakfast
being all cutie.
Poppin'.
Oh my god, I love breakfast food. I wish I had breakfast food right now.
That's my favorite meal of the day.
Me too, honestly. I love breakfast.
Like the days I don't have enough time to make breakfast, I'm so sad.
I want breakfast now. It's literally.
I know.
It's literally 1:30.
We've been craving our like local like breakfast place like forever. It's called Maple Street.
Oh
it's so
God,
good.
I want their coffee. It's so good. I want coffee. I want a lavender latte. Anyway, I should shut up about breakfast because now I'm hungry. And then they hear an explosion, and they're like, and so they run off to Jasiba's office, and they hide under there, and they're like, "What was that?" And I keep changing between Jasiba and Jessiba, but Jessiba's like, "They bombed the Asphodel Meadows, where all the humans are." Whoa, indeed. And so then it's still Ethan and Hypaxia, and so they're jumping into action, and so they're running to Asphodel, and they're like, "Oh my god, this place is incinerated by bombs. Like it's bad,
destroyed.
Like the buildings are down, people are like mush." And so they're going around. Hypaxia is healing people with first light, and Ethan's like pulling people out from other like fallen bricks, and like at first they're scared of him, and then he's like, "I'm here to help." And honestly, honestly,
you're like missing a leg. You're like, why you kind of
wait? Did you like sunball at CCU?
Is that the former captain of the CCU sunball? Where?
Yeah, I would be giggling and kicking my feet even if my feet weren't attached to my body anymore, but it's fine. Anyway, the damage is severe in Asphodel. They're like, I don't think Crescent City will ever recover from this. And then they switch over to the Shotties, who are still walking in the cave.
I love caves. Oh my god, Sarah, thank you. It's like a gift. Fan service at its finest.
Yeah, caves are fan service indeed. That's all I think about. And then Sathia goes up to Bryce and she's basically like, so
do you hate the Fae?
You hate the Fae. Why? And Bryce is like, why do you not hate the Fae? Because they suck. They suck so bad.
And then she generalizes the whole population.
It's like, it's this really weird thing because neither of them are right. Right?
Like, literally neither of them are right.
Because Sathia is like, I've accepted my place, and I was hoping someone else would come along and fix it for me, is basically what she's saying. She's like, I was hoping there would be, like, a queen, a.k.a. Bryce, who would come along and fix this
instead of
for
just
me.
Being the change.
Yeah.
But
and then Bryce is like, well, you all suck. Which, she has been burned by the Fae many times.
Her father, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, like, it's specifically the nobles of the High Fae of the Fae that are like not good people because all they care about is their money, and then also the Autumn King and the other bitch Morven. And so it's like you're generalizing a whole population when there's still like a whole other side to this people. Like there has to be poor Fae. Like there has to be poor Fae, right?
It doesn't seem like it because they never talk about them, which is weird. It sounds like there's only noble Fae,
which is weird.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, because when Morven's talking, he said some of the nobles have come to Avalon. And so I'm like, well, there must be non-nobles.
Yeah.
Then. So it might not be that they're poor, but just that they're not nobles.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. But it's like, because I also assume like they have servants in their houses, so they must be Fae. Because I feel like
they wouldn't let non-Fae
in. So it's like, I feel like there must be ones that aren't as affluent, but it's like, they never talk about just like Fae walking around.
Yeah, no, you literally never meet Fae other than like Bryce's group.
Yeah, so it's weird. So I don't know exactly what the vibe is with them, but she just generalizes the population. She's like, you all suck. And so it's this really weird like girl bossing competition where they're not girl bossing.
Yeah.
And Bryce is basically like, fuck y'all, why do I have to do everything for you? And Sathia
they're like, you're
it.
literally a starborn Fae. What are you talking about?
Which, it's weird. I don't know. Bryce is like really pissy in these couple of chapters.
She's getting on my nerves, not gonna
lie. I'm trying to keep a level head about it because I'm like, I know it's like everything's accumulating. And TBH, if I had so many people coming up to me and being like, you need to fix this for me, and I was like, I literally don't want to. I have something that I need to do, and I do not need to fix all of your problems. I'd be pretty mad too. So I'm trying to be like chill about it. She's being really
But to be fair, she's also the one that's like calling out like the system in a way where she's like, I'm not gonna know the truth and not fight against it and have to live in a world knowing the truth.
Yeah.
But then she won't apply that same logic to her own people.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I'm trying to be chill about it, but it's weird.
I am not chill about it.
And so then we flip back to Lydia and Rune, and they're walking to their rooms at the end of the day. And Rune's like, so the day of the ball, were you actually gonna meet me? And Lydia's like, the Harpy got there first, which is like, yeah, she was gonna meet him.
But also it's kind of weird because they literally passed each other. She was on her way to the fountain when they passed each other. Like, how did he not know she was going to meet him?
I think he just needed like confirmation. Like, you were actually going to meet me. I think he needed her to like be like, yeah, no, I was gonna say fuck it and do it. And then she's like, the Harpy fountain was there before I was, and so it's kind of like an unspoken thing, which is still not. I don't know. And so then Rune kisses her, and it's kind of Akko Taco. Like, it's kind of awkward. And then he goes to bed.
Yeah.
And that's that whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're on to 54.
Woohoo!
Bryce is trying to sleep, and she's still thinking about her whole confrontation with Sathya. And she's thinking about how much the Fae suck and how much she misses Danica. And she's just like, why do I have to fix everyone's problems? Even though I put myself in this situation where I have to fix everyone's problems. Which is kind of real, but also no.
Mm-hmm.
And then we flip back to Lydia and Rune, and they're having breakfast alone because they can't find Deck and Flynn. Wonder where they are.
But then Rune's just like, they're fine.
He's like, they're somewhere.
They're off fucking around somewhere.
And so a rebel shows up and like that lives on Avalon, and he goes up to Lydia and he shows her a picture of his family, and he's like, thank you for all that you did for me. Thank you for warning my like group, my squad when someone was coming. And Lydia's frozen. She's like, and she's basically like, you need to leave. And the dude's like, ow. And she's like, no, like, you need to leave because you are risking Morven's wrath just by being here. Thank you, but like leave. Mm-hmm. And so he does. And then Rune's kind of like, so what was that about? And she's like, she's basically like, if someone had, like, if my sons were in that situation, I would hope someone would do the same for them. Yeah. And he's like, wow, that's great. And she's like, I could have done more. And she like basically is haunted by this whole idea that she could have done more,
saved more people. And then, is this the part where she also mentions that? Sorry, I got so caught up on that word, I forgot my thought. You continue.
Okay. So then Rune and Lydia go back to the archives, and then she's not in it. She brain fog, and she's like, I want coffee. And so the two go off to find coffee, and it basically just turns into them drooling at each other.
Yeah, literally, like,
and it's so funny.
So funny, like literally, like she's like watching Rune like make the tea and like start the fire, and she's just like
he like picks up a log, and she's like, oh my god, his arms, and I'm like,
that's so real,
that's so me. I get you, girl.
And at some point, Rune's like, I asked you a question, and she's like, oh, what'd you say?
And so they're basically talking about how Cormac, they talk about Cormac and how like great he was and how he was so good growing up in a place that sucks like Avalon.
Which is kind of weird because like Cormac was only like that recently. He was kind of like a really shitty person up until that point. And like he fought to stay for the rebellion, but like I don't know if he was a good person necessarily. I don't know.
Did it say how long he was in the rebellion for?
It didn't, but
I thought he was in it for like a long time. I thought he was like rocking with them for a while.
I don't know.
And then they talk about how much Morven sucks because he sucks. And then they talk about how basically Morven is so much of like a spineless worm that he will just that Regulus had no reason to go to Avalon and check out and see if the Mist like actually keep them out because Morven was just so spineless that they're like, we don't need to make an expedition out there.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Which is kind of weird because I feel like if there was a saying going around that the Asteri couldn't breach the Mist of, if I was an Asteri, I'd be like, oh, really?
I can breach that.
I'm going to breach the Mist. That's going to be me. So,
put me in the history books.
Put me in, coach. So, which is kind of weird. So I feel like it's honestly a challenge. So I'm like, why didn't they go investigate? But you know what? Whatever. I feel like Sarah sometimes makes her villains like all powerful, and then doesn't realize that they're too all powerful and that they know everything, and now there's no way of like secrecy, and so then she kind of has to backtrack a bit. But you know, it's whatever.
It's cool.
It's book magic. We're going
She's still rich, so it's whatever.
So true. Selling more books than I do.
Yeah, so. True. So then Lydia compliments Rune. She talks about like she said the whole thing about Aktor Princely. And he's like, I can handle myself. And she's like, no, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, you wear your emotions on your face because you're such a good guy. That
right. Nice save, Lydia. I know what you did there.
Like, you wear your emotions on your face and I don't want someone to take advantage of you. And Rune's like, is that a compliment? And she's like, take it and run. She's like, stop.
Oh my god.
And there's more. So then they go back to the archives and Lydia's like, looking for scrolls on old Earth magic because Flynn and Sathya have Earth magic, and they're like this place sucks. So she finds some old scrolls, and the scrolls say that the Asteri had Fae with earth magic find the ley lines so they could build their cities on the ley lines. Weirdo. So they could build their cities on the ley lines, but Avalon is supposed to have tons of them. It's supposed to be like a center point for it.
For Fae power.
For Fae power and for the ley lines, but they're not there. And everything is rotting away. The earth is literally rotting away. And so they basically ask like the questions of, why is the earth rotting? Did they lie about the ley lines to get here? And why would they do that in the first place? Or did the ley lines just disappear? And then we go back to the caves. And Baxion's trying to talk to Bryce about how all the Fae can't be bad because she literally has friends who are noble Fae who aren't bad.
And they're like working to help her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I didn't think about that.
True that. And then Baxion's like, Danica felt the same way about the wolves. And Bryce is like, well, the wolves aren't nearly half as bad. And he's like, wow, slow your roll. And he's like, you're so much like her. I think her putting the horn in your back was her way of like pushing you towards doing the same thing she was doing with the wolves. Mm-hmm. And she's like,
crazy. I don't know about that one. She's like so blinded by her hate. It's kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm. And then they kind of have like this talk about how much they miss Danica, which is still weird to me. I get why Baxian would miss her, but like, come on, guys.
Literally everything that like Bryce has ever learned about Danica has been like some lie that Danica told her. And she's like, oh, so
I miss her.
Our entire friendship was basically just girl gossip, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like nothing real.
And then Morven shows up with Deck and Flynn in tow, plus the Autumn King.
We found them. What? Oh my gosh. And then Morven's going on this whole like thing was like, I knew once you had this journal that you incapacitated the Autumn King somehow, and I can't stick by that. I stick to my rock.
Yeah, that happens. The murder twins snatched Deck and Flynn while Lydia and Rune were drooling over each other. They just snatched them.
Literally took them. They didn't even notice.
And so then he went and got the Autumn King. And Bryce is like, damn, I didn't count on the fact that you were too dumb to figure out how to read his journal by yourself. Which is such a burn.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Just, can you get off my notes, pretty please? And then Bryce causes a cave-in. Because she was like,
and the Autumn King's like, run!
And but Deck and Flynn are still behind them with the murder twins and whatever. And she's like, they'll be fine. They have breeding potential. They won't kill them. Which is so funny. They're obsessed with breeding. I can't.
It's every time, every chapter. I'm like, why are we using that word? Why are we using it so often?
Stop it. Which I think is the point. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable, but I'm like, And then we switch back to Rune and Lydia. And for whatever reason, they're doing backstory instead of looking for his friends. They're doing backstory. And so this is when they talk about Lydia's shitty father and the stag ritual that got her prego, which is...
Whoa.
Why so many stags? Why so many stags if no Aelin? Why stag if no Aelin? Bring her to me. Anyway, they talk about the thing that got her pregs, and then she's like,
I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed because I wanted the father to be someone like significant.
Yeah.
So I'm a little disappointed. But whatever.
Yeah, I think she waited too long to like give Lydia a backstory to the point where she can't really do anything else with it.
Yeah.
Oh well. And then Lydia's like, oh, I'm having twins. I can't give them to
my father,
Sandriel, or my father. So I'm just gonna get kidnapped. So she stages her own kidnapping, goes to the depth charger, and the Ocean Queen's like, you can stay here for 2 years, but then you're going back and you're gonna be my little spy. And she's like, to keep my kids safe, I will. And then she gets back and Pollux is like, I loved you. I never stopped loving you, bitch. Marry me.
But yeah.
And then that's how that starts.
And then she was like, the old lady would have slept with him.
So I did.
And I was like,
okay. And then they make up and they make out. And that's the end of it.
But then make out.
And then Bryce, after the cave-in, she's like, let's go in the river. And so they all jump in the river. Wonder what that means. Your turn.
Woohoo! Look, I drew Therion. Isn't he cute? Look, he's got his little 6-pack, and then that's an otter. Anyways, chapter 56.
And this is an otter.
I'll even do his little vest.
Oh my god.
All right. So they jump in the river, then they get out of the river.
In a pool.
Yeah.
That off to the side. Wonder.
Does that sound familiar to anyone?
Sarah.
Anyways, and then Bryce and Hunt randomly get in a fight.
It's so random.
It is very random. Like, Hunt's like, yo, what the fuck? And she's like, what's your problem? And he's like, you made us jump into a river.
What's your damage?
And she's like, don't be the Umbra Mortis. And he's like, why are you bringing my trauma into this? I just want you to tell me what the fuck you're doing and why you're doing it. There's literally no reason for Bryce to, like, keep this stuff to herself. But every time she's like, I've got a plan. I'm not telling you or you or you.
Goose, come here.
Scared.
Oh, poquito.
Anyways, so they get into this stupid little fight that literally for no reason. And like we were talking about this fight earlier, and we're like, we feel like that
I get what Sarah was trying to do. She just didn't do it right.
Yeah. Because it's like he's supposed to be like guilt ridden and like he's got all this grief that he's trying to work through and all of this trauma. But he's not, it wasn't really shown well.
It's not it's not hindering her really. Like it's,
hindering her or him. They're both still doing everything that they need to do in like a decent manner.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's weird because like I 100% get what she was going for, because sometimes when people have so much guilt, it's like paralyzing and you can't get anything done because you're too busy trying to fix their guilt. But it's like
they're still getting their shit done.
They're still getting their shit done, and he's not outwardly guilty. He's really not. He's
really
inwardly
not.
Guilty, and he's doing everything still. And if he was like, every time she brought something up, trying to talk them out of it, like intensely, I would get it.
But he
he's
only
not.
Momentarily does it, and then she convinces him, and he's like, okay, yeah, whatever. So the point of this fight is just kind of not there.
Yeah. And they also are fighting in front of all their friends, which is kind of wacky.
So like all their friends are like,
that's a really cool stalagmite, actually.
It's so cold and wet right now. Anyways, and then they're like, okay, well, what the fuck? Why are we here? And then Bryce finally answers why she jumped into a river, and she's like, I've been here before.
I know this is.
Yeah, and so basically they're just identical tunnels to the ones that she was on Prythian.
Yeah.
So then she explains that, and then they're like, oh, okay, cool. So you know where you're going? And she's like, yeah.
Why didn't you tell us about this 15 minutes ago?
Literally, on this like quick little, I know where I'm going. Anyways, so she opens up this door in the same place. It's the same like room. And it's like identical to the one that they found Selene in. And then they found Peleus's sarcophagus. I love that they did this in literally a matter of hours.
Yeah.
While like Rune spent like days looking for Peleus's sarcophagus.
Oh, dude. He did say his whole ordeal was a bit of a fuck up because of the murder twins. So
and Cormac. And so so then they're going, and then they're like, oh man, fuck you, Peleus, you're awful. And
loser.
And then
dead.
Okay, cool. What are we doing? And she just like kicks open his sarcophagus, and she's like, "This is actually Helena's place." And then,
I love Helena.
Yeah, and then there's a stairway under his sarcophagus.
To heaven, or hell, if you will.
Oh, so I don't know about heaven, but yeah. And then 57. It turns out Helena built these tunnels herself, and they were like, well, how did a female do this? Because Avalon doesn't let females do anything. So how did she do this in secret? And then Bryce was like, she didn't do it in secret. She said she was building what is it called?
She was building Peleus' tomb.
Yeah, building a memorial towards
him.
Peleus.
So no one would question why she was in there for
honoring
so long.
the patriarchy. So there's that. And then she built her super secret little room, and they go down into her super secret little room. And then Bryce is like, does this look familiar? Does this mineral look familiar to you? And they're like, what? And she's like, black salt.
And Therion's like, can someone tell me what is going on? He's so funny.
But okay. And then so they're like, oh, black salt, like what you use to summon a demon, and they're like, yeah, it's just like
crazy.
Like, because this water's being filtered through the black salt, it's like you can talk to hell. Like, I don't know how you made that conclusion, but like, sure, that's how that works.
I mean, I kind of get the jump, but also not really. But I'll go with it.
Yeah, salty water.
And demons.
Yeah, and then she goes to take a sip of it, and they're like, whoa, 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 what are you doing?
Slow your fucking roll.
And she's like, okay, alcohol, not right now. And Hunt's like, I'm going with you. And she's like, oh, okay, cool.
It's really funny too, because he like zaps the thing out of her head, and she's like, what the fuck? He's like, don't go, you're not doing that. And she's like, what the fuck? And he's like, without me. And I'm like,
oh my god, so dramatic.
My beloved, love Hunt.
Anyways, then they fall into oblivion. And
it's cold as fuck.
Yeah, and it's cold as fuck. They fall into oblivion, and then all of a sudden, like, Ados pops out, and he's like, welcome to hell, guys.
He's got his two blue eyes, and he's like, hey. Took you long enough, Pookie.
You got a little lost. Anyways, chapter 58. Ethan is being a good person, and he, for 2 days straight, even though he needs to hop on over to Avalon, he is helping these people in the meadows.
I love Ethan.
Love him. Him and Hypaxia going toe to toe, saving
my
people.
shotties.
And then he's like, how come there's no wolves here? How come there's no wolves helping?
Yeah.
And then once again, he's criticizing the system, and he's like, we need a better leader. We need someone who will do this. This change needs to be made, and I'm going to make this change. But I'm going to put someone else in power. And I'm like, bro.
Ethan, connect the dots, honey. Honey Bunch is about to connect the dots. You should
have left Sigrid dead. You should have left Sigrid dead.
No one likes that
Just be an alpha. It's not that hard. They already offered it to you. Anyways.
It's so annoying because it's the same thing Bryce is doing. It's such a parallel because he's like, yeah, I mean, I could be in power and do it, but I'm not gonna.
There's like already someone else who's gonna do it, so I'll just let him do it.
He's like, the Fedor line. The Fedor line died with Danica. Just let them die. Kill them and let them die.
The good Findirs did.
Yeah, just kill him.
Because, I mean, honestly, Sigrid was not going to be a good leader. She just woke up.
She sucks.
She has been alive for years and has been in a tank the whole time. Like, she's not going to know how to lead. She's just going to have her little alpha instincts, and it's going to be really annoying.
It's going to be really obnoxious because also then you can't tell her what to do, and she's not going to know what to do. So it's an awful situation all around. Ethan, honey.
And now she's a Reaper, so...
The Grim Reaper got nothing on her.
She got everything on her. Anyways, and then so we flip on back to Therian, Bakshin, and Sathya. They're literally just like sitting in this little cave now, like watching,
twiddling their thumbs,
watching Bryce and Hunt's bodies freeze over, and they're like, they're fine, they're still breathing. And then so Therian tells more of his backstory, and basically that his sister died very recently, like in the last year. And that it's assumed she was sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Because it's not explicitly said. Basically, he's like, there's photos of like what the guy did.
The murderer.
Yeah. So, yeah. And so then Sathya is like, oh,
yeah,
that's why. Okay, I got it. And and so Therian's like, for once in my life, I wanted to do something good and feel like I did something good. And then he's like, oh, so sorry, we're married now. I am your problem. I'm going to stay married to you for a while. I've got some shit to sort out. So to get me off the river, so the river can get off my back.
It's really funny too, because whenever he mentions that his sister died and like the murder and everything, I'm always like, I forget that it was a year ago. It feels like it was more. Yeah. And then he's like, she died a year ago. And I'm like
at that point,
this hasn't been a year's worth of book.
Yeah, because I mean, at that point, like the little crystal monsters were still running around in the first book.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So
much has happened in this book.
So much. And then so Bryce and Hunt are going down this little river, and Ados is rowing the boat. And then they're like, "Wow, this is like a dead city," and he's like, "It is."
He's like, "Oh wow, you figured it out."
Yeah, good job, guys. I didn't know you were that smart. And then then they're like asking questions, and then Ados isn't really answering. And then they get ashore, and all of a sudden, Apollyon's coming down these steps, and he's like, "Welcome, son." And they're like, "What? Whoa.
The S word right now."
And that's the end of the chapter. And then we go to 59.
Yeah!
Yeah!
We left you guys off on a cliffhanger, because
We
the
did.
end of 59 is, in fact, a little bit of a...
cliffhanger.
Oh, but...
Sorry. We had bad chapter planning on that.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we also meet the Prince of the Ravine. He is Thanatos, which...
Thanatos.
Thanos?
Thanatos.
I know.
Oh.
But I was just saying Thanos. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Greek god of the dead. Love that for him. Percy Jackson, if you will.
I was going Infinity War, but, you know, whatever.
He's in Percy Jackson.
Thanos. Killed half the universe. Anyways, love him. Okay.
Thanos got kidnapped in Percy Jackson. It was funny.
So they're all kind of, no one's being productive right now. They have limited time in hell, and before they have to go back up to their bodies, and then they are taking this time to be like, yo, what the fuck? What the square up, bro? Square up right now. I can't fight you in this ghost form, but I'm gonna find a way.
And it's like both sides are just being annoying, because Thanatos is like, you smell yummy.
And Apollyon's just kind of like, I said what I said.
I do what I do.
And Ados is like, guys, can we do this? Ados is like, Ados just trying so hard. I feel so bad for him because both Bryce and Hunt are just so reactive. It's so fucking annoying. And they're like, Ados is like, okay, guys, what do you know about what happened? And then he goes, I know you love Thea. And he's like, yeah, I did. And then she's like, she's a monster. Yeah, she was, but she tried to get better.
And like, so am I. So
yeah, like, whatever.
It
is what it is. And then they go into it, and they're talking to Hunt, and they're like, oh, Hunt, I'm surprised you have that crown. And he's like, what do you mean, the slave crown? And he's like, yeah, because princes of hell can't be enslaved with that crown. It doesn't work on them. So I'm surprised, as you were a descendant of
all of
prince,
us.
You should be able to have that. So we're not sure why that happened.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have a feeling he's just gonna like concentrate really hard in the next couple of chapters. And
he's just gonna think about the fact that he's a half prince of hell, and then it's just gonna. I feel like that's 100% what's gonna happen. 100%,
yeah.
He's gonna sit down and like fucking meditate, and that'll be it.
Mm-hmm. Like, or he's gonna be like in a fight, and he's gonna think about how much he loves Bryce, and it's.
Yeah, so can't wait. And then we get some more information on what happened with Hell trying to fight the Asteri on Midgard and why they failed. And basically, all of their commanders and captains were vampires. Vampires and Reapers, which deflected to work for the Asteri on Midgard.
Losers.
Which are still there now. And so they had to take all this time to try and rebuild their army.
Lots of years.
Yeah. So that's kind of the way this chapter ends. Like, really nothing else happens.
It's this weird thing because they're hinting about Hunt being a prince of hell, but they're not like saying whose father he is. They're like kind of insinuating that all of them are his father.
Because I thought it was Apollyon, but like the way that like
Thanatos was like, well, no, that's more me.
All of us. It's kind of weird. So I think we'll find something else, and I don't know. We're definitely gonna find out more about his heritage. Yeah. Hopefully, in the next chapter, if they're not still fighting,
it'd be so nice.
or it doesn't get to like the important part, and it gets cut off, and they go back to their bodies. But you know,
whatever. It definitely is.
Yeah, I know. I'm well aware. I'm just hoping
because. And there's also, I'm pretty sure, I might have like missed this, but I'm pretty sure there's like 2 slits in the ground that are like one's big and one isn't, and it's like put the dagger and the sword in the ground.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
It's like it's on the part of the 8-pointed star. She was like, there's like inches long slits in the ground, and I was like, put them in, put them in there, please put it in there.
My biggest question is, where Asriel at? Where is he at? I want to see him. It will make me less angry.
I feel like when they get pulled out of their body, it might be that they're there. Like, I feel like, I don't know. Because I don't know what's happening. And it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, it's like not much is happening, but like a lot at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's really annoying.
Because I feel like the most obvious thing that's going to happen is Apollyon and Ados are going to be like, someone else is there. And she's going to be like, it's the Autumn King. And she's going to back up to her body, and then it's gonna be like,
Azrael's gonna be like, "Where the fuck is my dagger?
Where the fuck is my dagger? Give it back!" Like Therion and Baxian and everyone's just gonna be like sprawled out on the floor, and then she's gonna be like, "Where the fuck is my dagger?"
Oh, yeah.
That's my conclusion I've come to, because yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any other predictions for the next couple of
No.
chapters?
I'm just kind of waiting to see where it goes before.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, we're like not really much happened. We're just kind of sitting around.
I think I'm between if Ethan's gonna show up on time to meet them in Avalon, or if he's gonna go after.
Yeah. And then be like, hey, your buds were just here.
Yeah. So I would kind of like him to meet back up with them.
Yeah.
But I feel like Sarah's not gonna do that.
Mm-hmm. Which is it'll be like a big thing at the end. Like him and Jasiba will show up and save the day.
Yeah.
So
Hi, darling.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't really know where they go from this, because we're halfway through. So it's like, and are they gonna go back on the depth charger? Are they gonna go find some secret mountain cave to hang out at?
I mean, I definitely think that we're gonna have to meet up with the Ocean Queen again, because she's gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
And I feel like what's her face? Lydia's children are gonna be like here, do this or I kill them, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Lydia's gonna have to betray Rune in some kind of way,
probably.
So, but he'll understand.
He'll get it.
Yeah.
So, and yeah,
that's our predictions.
Thank you for laughing and lounging with us.
Yup.
Gee.
Love you,
babies.